Hello, Pranav. Welcome back for another episode of Logically Speaking. And I'm super excited that we are back again, as promised, with another episode that's talking about things that are happening relevant to what's happening around us in the world today and how it's impacting our day to day lives. So, today, Pranav, what are we going to be talking about?
I think we can't ignore the war, right? It's affecting all our lives. We've all never thought this is possible in 2022. I thought we were way past the stage where one country invades another as a hostile takeover. I thought hostile takeovers were restricted to companies in the stock market, but this clearly is not what's happening. So I think it's we should address the elephant in the room, and this is going to affect all of us. It is affecting all of us. I think there's nothing better to speak about.
Exactly. I mean, if you just look at what is happening around us in every economy across the world, there is some form of impact or the other. Most of the European countries, because of the embargoes that are placed on the trade relationships with Russia, are suffering because of the energy shortage that is happening. In India, too, inflation is peaking up. In fact, banks in India don't know where they lie. I mean, on one side, we have Russia, which has been kicked out of the SWIFT network. And on the other side, previously, a few banks in 2017 had helped Russia out when they had tried annexing another nation. But this time, because of the global pressure that's there, banks are just not sure of what to do over there. And a lot of it, I think, comes down to Swift being so centralized, being centrally controlled, and people looking to crypto. And I think crypto is your space, so I would love to hear your views on it.
Yeah, I love the fact that you use the word centralized, because that's exactly what I would have said. uh, we never, as somebody who's known the crypto space and been involved in sort of orange pilling people for Bitcoin use, I think no one ever thought that we would have a war like worst case situation where the crypto use is justified or is so useful this soon in our lives. We were really banking on the central banks to keep printing money and for us to use that as a good enough reason for everyone to start saving in Bitcoin. But it's been amazing, and it's been heart wrenching. Actually, there have been tweets from Ukrainian citizens who've sort of shared that their cryptocurrencies and their NFT assets, digital assets, are the only ones they have access to while they crossed borders and sought asylum or seeking refuge in some other country, or they have left their homes. They have no access to credit cards, debit cards. So any amount of money in the bank is not helping them. Obviously, they've had to leave their homes and businesses as they were. And several of them would be damaged or destroyed in this war, and the insurance companies may never be able to replenish or compensate the victims or the civilians for it. So I think all in all, crypto's use case is pretty much evident in today's world. The events of the last 2 years have pretty clearly demonstrated why Bitcoin has a future, something that is 100% digital, something that is valuable, and something that can be used both as a medium of transaction and a store of value.
In fact, I just want to bring in like a quick incident that I recently read about. There were a few war correspondents, journalists based in Russia who were covering the war, and their hotels refused to take their credit cards because Russia was no longer a part of the SWIFT network. There again, crypto came into play over there. So it's not just for the Ukrainian citizens. I think even people outside who are just covering the war are having to resort to alternate payment means, and the impact of this is seen everywhere. Like in the Indian stock market, for example, till yesterday, some of the companies which were like the darlings of the stock market, the darlings of the retail investors, have seen their values come crashing down. And some of them are newly listed companies as well. So, and when they had been listed, they had like a 60-70% gain in their IPO listing price. And now we're seeing them trade at a big discount. I think it's inescapable, whatever is happening in the global economy right now, and especially in the short term future. Uh, Another potential thing that I can see over here is how it is eroding the wealth, not just for, okay, the public is one, but even the employees are being affected, right? Because a lot of their wealth is tied to the stock options over here. So yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Capital markets have been in a tizzy. The Russian exchange has been shut for a long time. All the Russian ETFs and funds and instruments listed, GDRs, ADRs, listed in the London American exchanges have been blocked or are trading at steep discounts, some as low as 95, 98% lower than where they were before this war
Wow.
began. And overall, I think the major markets like India, Nasdaq, Nifty, S&P, London Stock Exchange have corrected more than 10%. And on the other hand, we have a huge spike in the commodity prices, right? Commodities which is already rallying and were reaching a peak towards the end of last year, and coming very close to the 2008 peaks, have again gone up higher in the last couple of weeks. And therefore, I think inflation is here to stay, and an energy crisis is something that is upon us. It is Russia has been a huge exporter of energy, both in the form of oil, gas, and coal. And therefore, I believe energy will see a huge spike in prices, and it will be a big impact on inflation, especially for India.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because already there's a huge expectation that oil prices are going to go up, in the coming 10-15 days in India. And you can see that in front of any petrol bunk that you go. Everyone who's going in is just filling their tanks to the full because they don't know what to expect. A funny incident recently happened. A friend of mine had just was visiting India after, I think, about 5 years, and he was used to the rates we used to pay back then. Not that it was cheap then, but anyways, he went into the petrol bunk with his Activa, and he just handed the guy a 50 rupee note and said, "Bhaiya bhar do." And that person gave him such a disgusted look. It was very hilarious. But yes, that just tells you about how sad the situation is becoming now.
Yeah, I'm sure. My cousin in California just told me this morning his price of fuel is 6 point odd dollars per gallon. So that's sort of like an Indian price, it's about 450 odd rupees for close to 4 liters. So that's more closer to the Indian pricing. And we are so energy dependent in India as a country, energy import dependent, that a weak Indian, because if the dollar gets stronger and prices go up, it's a double whammy for us in India. So to me, I think all in all, the whole world is such a globalized space now. We're all so deeply interconnected, whether it is trade, whether it is society, whether it is culture. We all love to travel, we all love to talk about various places. Our supply chains are extremely interconnected, right from China to the US and everything in the middle. In fact, direct flights from the US to India have already been cancelled in the last week,
Wow.
and they continue to be cancelled. Yeah. So I had somebody who was supposed to fly on the 8th, and they're not likely to be able to make the direct flight. So they've now booked themselves through Europe instead of the direct. And I only think if this war doesn't come to end soon, the overall impact on all of us as individuals, the economic impact, the social impact, the lifestyle impact is going to be significant.
Not just that, I think so many Ukrainians have had their lives ravaged. You can see images of, people, the neonatal division of a hospital literally living out of a basement to avoid the bombings that are going on over there. That is so sad. So I think somewhere we do need to make sure that that white flag of peace finds its ground to be planted on, and we reach like some sort of we've had enough of lives lost in the past 2 years. I don't think we need to prolong this anymore. That and it's not benefiting anybody. Like, Putin has probably become the most hated man on the planet right now. People are boycotting Russians. Russians don't want the war. Ukrainians are scared of what's happening. The people stuck over there, the other nationals who are stuck over there, are scared for their lives. People are praying everywhere, and I just think it's time for a logical conclusion now.
Yep, and absolutely, war is never a solution. And we definitely need to get out of it. So, thanks a lot. This sort of brings us to the end of our episode one, and we hope you liked it. I request you to like, share, and subscribe our page and our channel on YouTube, and let us know your feedback in the comments. We'd love to hear from you about topics we can discuss, and also how you think logically speaking is. Thank you.
Bye bye.